Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely fascinating. We're looking at an ancient text that treats the weather not as some random, unpredictable chaos, but actually as a highly engineered, rigid, cosmic machine. We're going to explore the literal blueprint of the heavens, specifically a wild concept known as the 12 celestial portals of the winds. Seriously, if you've ever felt like you're completely at the mercy of the weather, you're going to find both incredible comfort and maybe just a little bit of terror in how the ancients mapped out the skies.
So, who actually controls the winds? And where does all this destruction even come from? Well, this is exactly the question our ancestors tried to answer when they looked up at a terrifying, unpredictable sky. Think about it. When a sudden storm ruined a crop or a searing heat wave dried up a river, they didn't have satellite imaging to pull up on their phones. They had to rely on pure observation, pattern recognition, and just this deep, deep human desire to find order in the madness. They needed to know the exact source of both their suffering and their survival.
To keep us from getting lost in the storm today, here's our game plan. We'll look at the cosmic weather machine, the mathematics of destruction, the winds of the eastern sky, the southern and northern portals, the western sky's bitter end, and finally, a message to Methuselah.
All right, starting right off with Part 1, the cosmic weather machine and mapping the ends of the Earth.
To really wrap our heads around this machine, we have to kind of shift our perspective and imagine the world as a totally enclosed system. We're traveling to the very edges of the Earth, right where the sky literally opens up like giant mechanical doors to release the elements. The text reveals this strict mathematical architecture, exactly 12 portals circling the globe. Now, these aren't just random holes in the sky. They're meticulously organized. They're divided up into precise groups of 3 across the 4 faces of the heavens. So you've got 3 in the east, 3 in the west, 3 on the right, which they call the south, and 3 on the left, the north. 12 perfectly positioned doors where all the winds of the earth come out.
Moving into Part 2, the mathematics of destruction and a very dark imbalance. Now, you might assume that a perfectly symmetrical machine with 12 doors would give us nicely balanced weather, right? Well, not quite. The raw data actually reveals a pretty terrifying reality. Out of the 12 portals, a staggering 8 of them are classified as winds of injury. And when these 8 open up, the text says they bring pure destruction to the earth, to the water, and to literally everything living there. Against those 8, there are only 4 portals dedicated to winds of blessing and peace. That is a 2-to-1 ratio against humanity. Basically, according to this text, the cosmos is fundamentally rigged toward destruction.
Which brings us to Part 3, winds of the eastern sky and finding the hidden pattern. So how do you even survive those odds? Well, if we look to the east to start our tour, a vital survival code actually starts to reveal itself. The first portal, which inclines toward the south, unleashes just absolute misery, destruction, dryness, heat, and death. Then skip over to the third portal, towards the north, and it blasts out intense coldness and dryness. But right there in the middle, that second portal produces what the text calls the right mixture. We're talking rain, fruitfulness, peace, and dew. So here is the crucial takeaway, the underlying rule of this entire celestial machine. This ancient text isn't just giving us a weather report, it's revealing a literal philosophy for survival. The middle path is always the safe zone. The middle portals produce the right mixture, peace, and life. Meanwhile, the outer flanks, those portals on the very edges, bring devastating extremes like heat, cold, destruction, and as we're about to see, some highly specific ancient nightmares. Essentially, equilibrium equals life, and the extremes are deadly.
All right, let's jump to Part 4, the southern and northern portals, featuring sweet incense and swarms.
As we pan our gaze across the sky to the south, the outputs get, well, increasingly bizarre. The middle portal continues to act as our safe sanctuary. It delivers not just dew and rain and peace, but also sweet incense. I mean, it's this really beautiful sensory image of perfect weather, right? But its neighboring portal, the third one towards the west, introduces an incredibly specific and honestly repetitive threat into our matrix. Grasshoppers. Yep, along with dew and rain and destruction, the sky literally opens up a massive portal just to drop agricultural ruin right onto the earth.
And as we pivot to the north, the threat really intensifies. Again, the middle portal keeps giving us life and peace. But the outer flank, the third portal inclining toward the west, unleashes an absolute deluge of chaotic winter weather. We get fog, hoarfrost, snow, rain, and dew. And casually tacked on to the end of that freezing list, you guessed it, more grasshoppers. It's wild. The author of this text clearly views these swarms not just as a normal biological earthly event, but literally as a weapon stored up in the sky, ready to be deployed from multiple angles at any time.
That leads us right into Part 5, the western sky's bitter end, completing the rotation.
So, as we complete our full 360-degree rotation by facing the west, we have to see if our ultimate rule actually holds up. And, just like clockwork, it does. Peace and blessing are fiercely protected right there in the center, in that second middle portal. Meanwhile, that safe center is flanked on one side by chaotic winter swarms, coldness, snow, frost, and, yep, our old enemy, the grasshoppers. And, on the other side, the third portal brings a bitter end of dryness, destruction, burning, and death. The whole machine just functions perfectly in all four directions.
Finally, Part 6, a message to Methuselah, passing down the cosmic law.
Now, as we zoom out from this intense, data-heavy cosmic matrix, the clinical tone suddenly drops away for a profoundly personal reason. The text says, "Thereby the 12 portals are completed, and all their laws and all their destructions and their virtues I have showed to you, my son Methuselah." Think about that. This massive cosmic layout concludes with this incredibly dramatic, intimate revelation. It's a father speaking directly to his son. He isn't just teaching him trivia here. He is desperately passing down the ultimate survival guide. He's basically saying, look, I have mapped out the destructions. I've mapped the virtues. Now you know the hidden laws of the universe.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to really ponder. Why did someone take the time to map out random swarms of grasshoppers and devastating winter storms into this perfectly precise mathematical formula? Honestly, it's because knowing the rules of the machine, even if those rules are brutally stacked against you 8-4, is infinitely better than just living in random, unpredictable chaos. It gave Methuselah, and really it gives us, a way to make sense of the terrifying world around us. Thanks so much for joining me as we explored the celestial portals. Keep seeking the patterns out there, and I will see you in the next explainer.